Hey everyone, so I'm super excited to be collaborating with Kenwood again to bring you a series of recipes that will, I hope, inspire you to get creative in the kitchen during this isolation period. I'm going to show you a variety of recipes where most of the ingredients are really just pantry staples. So in the first of this series of videos, we're going to get creative with dough. I'm going to share with you my favorite dough recipe and show you how versatile this recipe is and how you can use it in 4 different ways, making something that's both savory as well as sweet. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing that you need to do is activate your yeast. So you need a sachet of yeast, which is about 7 grams of dry yeast. So you add that straight into your bowl with 2 teaspoons of salt and a teaspoon of sugar. And a cup of warm water. Now I leave that for about 10 minutes to activate. So just a little tip, when I'm using this same dough recipe to make something sweet, what I do is I switch up the amount of salt and sugar. So instead of using 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, I switch it up and I use 2 teaspoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of salt, just because with something sweet, I prefer the dough to be on the more sweeter side. So once the yeast has activated, you add 2.5 cups of plain flour. So you can of course bring the dry and wet ingredients together just using a fork to begin with, and then on a floured surface, knead it by hand. It'll take you about 10 to 15 minutes to knead it and bring it all together to the consistency that you want it. But I always use my Kenwood Chef XL because it makes my life a whole lot easier on my hands, and it takes less than 5 minutes for me to bring it all together. This machine is actually so powerful. One of my favorite things about this particular machine is the illuminating light. Lights up the whole entire bowl. So basically I start off on the lower speed and then move up to a higher speed until all my ingredients come together and it starts resembling a dough ball. Okay, so once it gets to this point, and that actually took, I think that took maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I do bring it out on a floured bench and just bring it together, just for a few seconds, bring it together by hand. There have even been a number of times where I have doubled this recipe, and because the bowl of this Kenwood Chef XL is quite a large one, it's 6.7 litres. I can easily do that still as well using the stand mixer, and it's also powerful enough to bring the dough together in the way that I want it to. There you go, like you've got a perfect dough ball within a few minutes. So add a tiny little bit of oil to the bowl just to cover the surface and ensure that the dough doesn't stick. And the dough just goes straight back into that bowl. I cover it with some cling wrap, and then I also cover the whole bowl with a tea towel. And then this goes in a draft-free area to rise. So it needs about an hour usually to rise before I start rolling it out. So once the dough is ready, all you need to do is roll it out on a floured surface, and then really it's up to you. Be creative, go wild with the fillings. I love to do a cinnamon scroll, and one of our other favorites is the za'atar and cheese with lots and lots of cheese, garlic and herb bread, or you can do a pizza filling, which is really delicious. Then starting from the long end, roll up to enclose and cut into equal portions. Place cut side up in a sheet pan or even in a cake tin, cover, and then set aside to rise again. So I've let it rest for a further 30 minutes and now it goes into a preheated oven. So I preheated the oven to 200 degrees Celsius, but when I put this into the oven, I do turn it down a notch to about 180 degrees. And I cook it for about 25 minutes. So that took about 20 minutes in the oven, and it actually smells so good. So as you can see, it really just took a few simple ingredients, which all of you probably already have in your pantry, in your fridge, and with the help of the Kenwood Chef Excel, it really just takes a few moments to get this dough together. You don't need to be an expert cook. I'm gonna try and show you without burning my fingers, I hope, how gorgeous this dough is with a beautiful crispy outside. And check that out. Hot. This beautiful gooey pizza interior, yum. Using that one dough recipe made 4 different ways. We have the pizza scrolls, we have the garlic and herb twisted bread, we have the delicious za'atar and cheese scrolls, and of course this beautiful cinnamon scroll, which I'm going to finish off with a drizzle of a really simple icing that I just put together with icing sugar and some milk and a little bit of a squeeze of lemon. Yum. This will be the perfect dessert.
Mama, those look delicious. Can I have one?
Of course you can have one.